Hi, I'm Don, and this is The Hobbyist Geek. Welcome back, y'all! Today we're continuing our Star Trek Enterprise D build with Pack 6. Last time around was so much fun after such a long wait, and I can't wait to see what comes in this one. So let's just get started. Alright, Pack 6 has a ton of parts. Everything you see here is for Stage 19 only, and there's so much more to come. For Stage 19, we have deck panel U311. We got a reflector panel U311. We've got clear long windows, dark long windows. We've got 4 deck panel lights. We've got the escape pod covers. We got 10 of those. We got clear windows. We got dark windows. We've got the dorsal phaser array. Look at that thing. That looks awesome. We have battle section skeleton 2. We have a bunch of stickers. And we have a whole bunch of screws. All right, let's get started. Alrighty, we're gonna kick things off with 8 of the escape pod covers, 22 black windows, and 22 clear windows. These are not the long windows, okay? Those will come in just a little bit. But for now, first thing we'll want to do is take these escape pod covers, and with this piece, the deck panel U311, make sure that the red line there is facing the long edge. So when you're looking at it from the front, it should look like that. And we'll want to insert all 8 of them along that top row there. Alright, so it should look a bit like that from the back. I can't really flip it over because these are not fastened and secured yet. Now, what we're going to do next is fill in all of these window gaps except for these 10 long ones right here. Those we will not be filling in just yet, but we'll fill in the rest. There are 8 of each kind, clear and black, remaining as spares, so you can mix and match, make whatever design suits you. I'm going to go ahead and try to replicate what is in the instructions, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like. And there you go. That is what it should look like if you're following the instructions. I do recommend that these 4, regardless of what you do with the rest, these 4 at the top are all dark windows. And you'll see why in just a second. All right. The next thing you want to do is take your stickers here, and you're just going to pull one of them off. And you'll use it to secure those top ones in place. This is why I say you should leave them dark, because the light's not going to really be able to bleed through with the sticker on top. So we'll just stick that thing in place. And call it a day. Next up, you're going to need 5 dark and 5 clear long windows, and we're going to be filling in this gap here. Now, there are no spare clear windows, but there is 1 extra dark window if you want to do a little mix and match. Again, user preference. Let me do this. I'll show you what the instructions say you should do. And there you go. That is the layout, the instructions say for the entirety of this panel. Looking quite nice. And now we can take our reflector here and make sure that the indented parts are facing the windows, okay? You want the silver here. I know this is also silver, but this is kind of a clearer silver. It's hard to describe. And it should sit on it like this. Just like that. So that these 4 posts come through, and then this little hole here on the bottom, or little carve out, matches that. Okay, you're not going to screw anything in just yet, but it should make it a little easier to work with without screwing up your window layout. Alright, for this next bit, we're going to want to take one of our LED strings here, and basically we've got our 2 LEDs here, and they're going to go into the center. So you're really going to have to bend them pretty significantly, about 90 degrees or so, to make sure that they can get in. And based on the instructions, yellow, white will go to the right, black and red to the left. Now once you've got them in place, these 2 holes here will be filled with BP screws. So let me go ahead and get this done. I'll show you what it looks like when we're finished. Alright, should look a little something like that when you're done. As always, test your lights before and after installation to make sure everything is in working order. Okay, next up, you're going to take 2 more strings of lights here. You're going to pull them apart a little bit. And for this, they also want you to bend it about 90 degrees or so for both ends, kind of like that. And what you're going to want to do is take the yellow side. You can pull it apart a little bit if you need to. The yellow, white, and that'll go in the bottom over here. And the same goes for the other side. And once you've got your yellow lights in, the red, black will still be loose and nothing will be up here. But you'll want to put the 4 more BP screws into these remaining holes. Alright, so it should look a bit like this when you are done. Incredible! And now the real fun begins. Alright, for this next part, we're going to be affixing this right here on this frame. Now, ostensibly, what's going to happen here are the cables, the center cables. By the way, this is upside down so that I can slide this in. The center cables here will come through the right hole, just like this. The left light cables, or excuse me, right light cables will come through the right hole as well, with the left light cables coming through the left hole, much like this. Now, this is going to be fun. All right. Basically, right here and right here are these little gaps, and the expectation is that the yellow lines, the single yellow lines, are going to go through those gaps, much like this. And this will come up everything should align, one would hope. And these two holes here are going to go right in there, and we've got some DP screws to hold it in place. Let's see if I can figure out how to make that happen. All right, should look a little something like that. And now the fun part begins. Those loose lights here, we've got to somehow get them into this gap and then slide them in on both sides. So let me see if I can figure out how to make that happen. All right, there we go. Look at that. Now, as for these, tweezers, pretty much essential. Not a lot of force is needed, so don't try to really shove them in by force. But it is quite tricky to get it in place. But as you can see, it can be done. And look at the result. I mean, that's spectacular. But we are not done with stage 19 yet. All right, next up, basically flip it back over. You take these 3 cables, and you kind of bunch them together like this. And we'll take another one of those stickers, and we'll wrap it around to keep things organized. All right, just like that. Cool. All right, next up, we're going to pull out this piece that we assembled all the way back in stage 4. And what we're going to want to do here is very carefully we're going to remove these 2 screws and take this panel off. All right, we're going to set this to the side. Bear in mind, it's got those escape pods on there, so this is all loose. So be careful with those. And this light right here is, well, it can come out. I don't know if it has to, but it certainly can. All right, now the way this is going to go in is going to be on this side right here. This cable is actually going to come up through this hole right there. So let's go ahead and pull that. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to pull this through, and it looks like, yeah, this lower line here is going to go through this same gap right here for some cable management. Let's see if we can make that happen. All right, I got it in there. That was hard. I had to loosen this screw in order to get that in, but it's in now. Awesome, 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 awesome. Then the other line, this line, is also going to go through this gap here, just like this. Yeah. Okay. And this is all going to come up, hopefully nice and neat. And we're going to need 3 DP screws, 2 here and 1 here to hold it all in place. Make sure that this light here also comes through the hole, because it's going to come around and come in from the top over this bar. Okay, and there we go. This part right here, getting these cables in to a point where these will line up, is extraordinarily difficult. Be careful, make sure you test all your lights as you're going through it. But yeah, that was hard. All right, one last thing before we move on. If you haven't yet, the hanging light here that popped out, that can go back, but there's nothing to hold it in place just yet, but that it will go back where it was. All right, next up, we're going to take this other piece that we did in stage 4, and really what we're going to do is loosen the screws just enough to pull this cable out. And there we go, just like that. All right, next thing we're going to want to do here is basically take our cable. I'm going to slide it through this hole here. Just like that. Then we're going to bring the light, and that's going to go right back through over here, just like that. And then it'll go right back in, and we'll tighten up these screws again. All right, and with all this in place, this is going to come in here, and once again, 2 more DP screws are going to go into these 2 posts through these 2 holes. All right, y'all, I actually made a little mistake. It's actually going to come through this hole and then come around to go through here. It does not come through this hole. But got it in place, and it is looking pretty spectacular so far. Look at this. That is gorgeous. All right, let's see what's next. All right, next up, we're going to bring out the deck panel that we set aside earlier, and we're going to need 3 dark windows and 2 clear windows, and those will go in here. All right, and it should look like that when you're done. And how comes the fun part? All right, so it's going to line up pretty much like this. Make sure that yellow light, or in my case, the yellow and black light, but the loose light from earlier is in place. If it's not already, or if it fell out, it needs to go in there. And you've got 10 screws you got to put in. Now these ones that go on the reflectors, right here, 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 and here, there's 4 of them. Those are EM screws. The ones that go through the metal here, those are BM screws, and there's 6 of those. So let me go ahead and get all that in place. All right. And that is what you are left with. Test, test, test. That's why you see these on right now, because I'm testing this. And I'm going to test these as well once we get there. But, wow. How much fun is this? All right, I feel like maybe we're missing an LED somewhere. Was there an extra loose one somewhere? I don't see it. If there is, maybe not. But I think we're good for now and we can move on. I was missing one. It's the other cable that we haven't installed yet. Oy, that was stupid, Don. That was stupid. Short version is yellow line goes into that gap right there. You may, if you've already gotten where I am, you'll probably have to loosen some screws to get it to fit, but that's where that will go. So let me get that in and test it. Okay, it's in, tested. That was a pain. Maybe if you're doing this yourself, put the light in before you screw it all in, so you don't have to take it all back apart again. But that's where that goes. And now what we're going to want to do is leave this line with the loose light here. That'll stay loose. These, of course, are all taped up. And we're going to take the other 3 leads here. We're going to bundle them together and we're going to tape them up too. Just like that. And as I keep saying, test, 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 test. You've got 7 leads coming here. Sadly, that is more than we have ports on our test circuit. But you can still test them individually. And look at how beautiful this is on this side. Wow. And we are still not done. All right, next up, what we're going to do is we're going to take our phaser array here. Look at that. 3 posts, 3 holes. What do you know? Fits right in just like that. And then we will flip it over. And in all 3 holes, we will use DP screws. All right, screws are in. And on the flip side, there we go with our phaser array. Beautiful. One more step and we'll finally be done with stage 19. Now, for this one, we're going to need to pull out this battle section, skeleton section, and this battle skeleton section. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to put them together a bit, yeah, just like this. Okay? And we are going to need, let's see, what is this? 10 BM screws all around to hold it in place. So let me go ahead and get those in. All right, and there it is, nice and screwed in. Remember how I said this thing felt flimsy in the last stage? Well, it doesn't anymore, man. That extra structural support really helped out. I'm not sure if the saucer section detaches or not, but if it does, that makes sense. This would need to be really strong. Even if it doesn't detach, because that's basically where the saucer would sit, I think. And it would need to hold all of that weight, so it's definitely going to need to be strong. That, my friends, finally finishes stage 19. We still have 3 stages to go in this pack. And here are the parts we get with stage 20. We have deck panel U312, reflector panel U312. You get 2 more escape pod covers. We've got our clear windows. We've got our dark windows. We've got some more deck panel lights and another battery box, this time with a little on-off switch. Very cool, along with some screws. All right, as you may expect, we're kicking things off by filling in the deck panel here. We're gonna need both escape pod covers, and we're gonna need 17 dark windows and 18 clear ones. So let me lay this out, and I will show you what the instructions say it should be. And there you go. That is the layout that is expected as per the instructions. All right. Next up, we're going to take one of the LEDs here. Get a little bit of separation going. We're going to take our reflector panel. Make sure you orient it correctly. We'll set this puppy on top. Oh, there it goes. All right. Now, we've got these 2 slots for the LEDs. We're going to use both from here, red and black on the bottom, white and yellow on the top. Okay, that took a lot longer than I expected. Man, that is tough to get in. But we got it. And thankfully, it doesn't look like we messed up our lights at all. Or excuse me, our windows. Okay, well, obviously once that's in, you get 1 BP screw right here. And now we're going to take the other lead. And this time we're only going to be using the red and black LED. And that's going to go in right there, and then we'll use BP screws for the other 2 holes. All right, there we go. Let's give them a test while they're in place here. All right, look at that. That looks gorgeous. Beautiful. All right, let's see what's next. All right, as you might have guessed, this is going to go right here. This is upside down right now. So this cable with the loose LED is going to come through the big section here. And it's not a big deal. This, on the other hand, is going to come up through this smaller section here, and the red and black cable is going to have to come down into this gap, just like we did on the other side. So let me see what I can do about that, and I'll be right back. All right, so this is where we're at. As you can see, I've got the red and black cable coming up through here. There is the yellow white on this side, and this red and black is coming up on this end. Excellent. Let's see what's next. All right, for this next section, we're going to take this piece, which we did in stage 18. And we've got the LED leads coming in here. Bend those up. Those are going to go through here and here. So let's get those in. And then we'll slide that little slot down in there. Things should line up fairly well. And we'll basically go around to the other side. And there should be 2 holes for some BM screws. So let's flip this thing over and see what we got. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a bit of a pain, isn't it? Okay, those BM screws are going to go through here and here. And you can see the posts where they're going to line up on this piece. The problem is getting these cables in. And according to the diagram, they do indeed go underneath this. These lower ones, the red and black, go underneath this support right here, and then everything comes out here. So let me see if I can find a way to make that happen. All right, don't know how, but I did it. Basically, you just gotta load them up and have them follow along the edge here until they come through this gap. We got our 2 BM screws in, and that is what that section will look like on the other side. This does look like it's a little bit raised. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just because I don't have anything here to cover it up, but I think we are ready to move on. And here are the parts we get with stage 21. We have deck panel U206. We have the transporter emitter. We have dorsal phaser array 2. We have 5 escape pod covers. We also have our dark and clear windows. And we have the battery box nut and the battery box end cover, along with another set of LEDs and some screws. All right, we're gonna kick things off by taking the skeletal frame on the battle bridge here. I'm going to flip it over. We're going to take the battery box that we got earlier, the one with the switch on it, and that is just going to go right here. So there are 2 posts and 2 screw bases. It'll just slide right in, and we're going to use BM screws to hold it in place. All right, look at that. It's on there nice and tight. Now, right in there, there's a little spot, hexagon. That's where our nut is gonna go. So we're gonna set that thing in there, line it up nice and neat, just like that. And now, we're going to take this cover here, and that'll just sit right on top, and we'll fix it in with 2 BP screws. Beautiful. All right, next up, we're going to take our deck panel here and our phaser array, 3 posts, 3 holes, just slides right in like that. We're going to use CP screws to hold it in. Look at that, gorgeous. Then we'll take our transporter emitter, and that's just going to slide right into that slot there. Should just be a push fit. However, oh, I take it back. This is a sticker. Look at that. So we're going to have to take the backing off, and then we'll stick it in place. There we go. Nice. All right, for the next step, we're gonna need 3 dark windows, 2 clear windows, and all 5 of these escape pod covers, and the escape pod covers clearly go here, windows here. I will show you the direction when I'm done. As always, how you do the windows is up to you. And there you go. That is the layout as per the instructions. All right, here's where things get fun. Okay, what we're going to start with identify this cable right here. That one has a free LED. Make sure that it goes underneath this structure right here, okay, and comes through into this panel. Now it's eventually going to go into here, but we got nothing to hold it in place just yet. And that, my friends, is where this comes in. And I just lost one of my windows. I'll have to fix that. 1 second. Okay, got it fixed. Now this is going to come in from underneath, much like this, best you can. And we're going to get it in here just like that. Now we're going to hold it in place for the moment with just one screw. That'll be a BP screw that will, excuse me, BM screw, my bad. That will just kind of hold it in place. It's not going to secure it, obviously, but it's going to hold it in place. So let's get that in. And one of my windows came out again. So doing this on camera is apparently not in my future. Wow. Actually, all 3 of my black windows came out. So let me just go ahead and get this in. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so we've got this in now, and we've got our 1 screw. Then we're going to want to take this LED. We're going to slide it into that slot. So let's get that done. All right, so it should look like that. Now, we're going to take the other LED string we got today, and we'll do a little separation here, and the yellow and black lead is the one that will go into that slot right there. Just like that. Beautiful. Now, what we're going to want to do to make things a little easier in the future is we're going to take the red and black lead. I'm going to slide it underneath this structure right there. Just like that. And then I'm not sure what happened here. Ah, there we go. Okay. I trapped something in here that I shouldn't have. Too many cables, right? There we go. Okay, we'll slide this in, tighten this back up. Okay. Now, if you'll recall, this lead right here also has an excess light. And it'll be easier for everyone, yourself included, if you slide that through the superstructure there as well. Before you tighten everything up, it'll make install a little easier moving forward. Now we're going to secure this panel here by putting in BP screw or BM screws in these 5 holes. And then we've got EM screws for these 4 holes. So let's go ahead and get that done. All right, should look a bit like that. When you're done, look at that beauty. And of course, make sure you test all of your leads before you move on. In case you guys are wondering, I only use the electric screwdriver on the metal screws. This has too much torque for anything going into plastic. Always use hand tools for plastic screws. But this really, really helps for the ones going into the metal. All right, and that ends stage 22. I'm sorry, that ends stage 21. It's time to move on to stage 22. And here are the parts we get with stage 22. We have deck panel U308. We have reflector panel U308. We got 5 more escape pod covers, a whole bunch of dark and clear windows. We have a PCB. We got our circuit board finally. We have 4 docking latches. Now these are all different. If you'll note, these have a little corner cut out on opposite sides, and these have the latch off center. Okay, so it is important to note which is which so you know where they all go. We have 2 more of our standard LED sets, and we have what they call the battle section lights, which actually has 3 LEDs on 1 string. So this should be fun. Can't wait to see how this assembles. And of course we have a whole mess of screws too. All right, we're gonna get started here by populating the escape pod hatches and the windows. You will need 16 clear windows, 13 dark windows, and all 5 escape pod hatches to do the pattern in the instructions. So let me go ahead and get those in. Be right back. And, excuse me, and there you go. That is the pattern as per the instructions. Awesome. Okay, so next up, we're going to take our LEDs and our reflector panel. Now, if you'll note, there's this long angled slot here and then a short angled slot here. What you're going to want is the LED with the yellow and white cables in each. Okay, so 2 separate cables. So the yellow and white there, and then we'll take the other string and yellow and white right in there, just like that. And now we're going to want to slot this thing in, and we'll use 2 BP screws to hold it in place. You can go, it should look a little something like this, though I notice right here and right here there are supposed to be some more slots for lights, which I don't seem to have. I've got cutouts, but I don't have the raised slot section, which is concerning. So I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to double check. I want to make sure I've got the correct part here. Okay, y'all, it does look like that is just a fault in the instructions. Let me show you what I mean. As you can see here in the instructions, there are two cutouts right there, very clearly available. However, they do not exist here, and that is okay. This is the piece that we will need, and we are ready for the next bit. All right, with this upside down, this will be coming in on this side, right here on the right. Now, the cable here that's coming out of the short end is actually going to go through this hole right here. So let's get that in. LED 2. Just like that. This one can be hanging below. It's eventually going to come through here. In fact, you can do it now if you want. Just like that to get it out of the way. And this will come in, and we're going to use 2 DP screws there and there to hold everything in place. So let's go ahead and get that in. All right, should look a little something like that when you're done. Absolutely beautiful. All right, let's see what's next. All right, next up, we're gonna bring out this battle section panel here, and we're gonna slide all 4 of our docking clamps into these holes. Now, it is critically important that you slide them into the correct holes, as I'm sure you might imagine. Let's see here, yeah, okay. So it should look a bit like this. We have the cut corner here, here, and then these two, as you can see, are in this orientation with these lower than the docking clamp. Now there's a reason for that. That is because here, 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 and here are where they are all going to slot in. So let's get this in place as best we can. There we go, very much like that. Okay, and we have 6 holes along here. These 2 up here, these 2 here, and I think it's these 2 right here, yeah. I'm going to use BM screws to hold them all in place. And there you go, all done. And there are our docking clamps right there. Not sure why they did this the way they did this, but you know what? It works. The docking clamps do come up, I suppose, if you want them to, but they're just hanging loose in there. I've got to admit, I'm really hoping that's not how they actually intend for this to dock. But we'll find out eventually, I guess. All right, let's see what's next. All right, next up, we're going to attach our circuit board here. Make sure it's in this orientation with the gap here facing the top. And it's basically going to slide in right here. So you've got these 2 posts and these 2 posts. And we're going to use BM screws for the top 2 holes and FM screws for the bottom 2. Should look like that when you're done. Now we're going to take the LED string that's got 3 lights on it, and that's going to plug in right there. So let's go ahead and get that done. There we go. And now we're going to take the 2 red and black cables, and they're going to come down through here. Let me get this power switch out of the way. And they're going to go into these 2 holes, 1 in each hole. Just like that. Then we're going to bring it around. Okay, this is kind of important. We're going to take this cable, we're going to weave it back in through this hole, and then back out again through this hole. We're going to do the same on the other side. So it should look like that when you're done. All right, next up, we're going to bring this out. That's right. Now you want to make sure you identify all of your cables appropriately. Okay, so we've got the 2 upper cables here and here. We've got these 2 lower window cables here and here. And then you have your engine cable as well. So what you're going to want to do is take the upper cables, and they're going to go through these 2 big holes right here, just like that. Then you're going to want to take your lower cables, the lower window cables I should say, and both of them are going to go through this hole here. And then your engine cable will go through the upper hole right there. I know this is a spaghetti mess, but this is basically what it's going to look like. Engine cable, lower window cables, and then you've got, oh, wait a minute, I had that wrong. The lower window cables will actually go through this hole, and then here and here for the upper window cables. Let me correct the lower window ones. There we go. Now we've got all the cables going where they're supposed to go. And this will come in, and there are 3 holes here, here, and here that will line up with posts on this assembly, and we're going to use CP screws to hold them in place. Make sure you don't pinch any of your other cables here when you're doing it. All right, so this is what it should look like when you're done. Wow, that was difficult, but it's in. We've got all 3 screws in. We should be good to go. Now for some wiring. All right, we're gonna kick things off with this. This is the engine glow cable. That's going to plug in right there. There we go, just like that. Now we're going to take this This is the upper right when you're looking at it this way cable. And that is going to go in right there. Excuse me, second one in. Just like that. Now we want to take the two lower window leads coming through here. We're going to bring those around. And those will plug into these two holes right there. Or two ports, I should say. We're going to follow that up with the remaining upper window lead. We're going to bring that around. Yeah. And that will plug into this port. Now what you want to do is some cable management. Tucking all of the cables underneath this support is what is recommended by the instructions. So that is what I am going to do as best I can. All right, is it pretty? Not particularly. Does it work? For now. Now this one I did not do any cable management with. I don't know where this lead is going to go. But that does leave us with our power button here. And it does have a little lead, and that is going to go into that port right there. So let's go ahead and get that plugged in. Just like that. Now, what we're going to want to do is pull out our old battery box. And we're going to have to take the cover and the screw off of this thing, because those are going to go here. And with that said, there's no real point in leaving the batteries in there either, so we'll pull those out and we'll put those in here. Okay, these two are positive, this is a negative, and we'll slide this in and screw it in place. Just like that. Now, please, we're going to flip the switch here. Haha, look at that. Look at this. We've got our flashing lights here, our engine glow, all these backlights. Beautiful. And whatever this is, also on. That is gorgeous. Nice. Very nice. All right. Well, with that done, we can take, where'd it go? Ah, here it is. This, it's got those two little magnets, boom. And now we can pull it off anytime we need to replace the batteries for the battle section. Wonderful. And there it is, y'all. Stage 6 complete. Look at that. That is awesome. Absolutely spectacular. And we finally started putting the paneling onto the saucer section as well. I'm a little upset that we can't light all of these, but I mean, it is what it is. We will eventually get there, but this is looking gorgeous. Absolutely love it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Have a great day.